How is it going today?
Loyalist.
Kingdom, my name is Dwayne.
My name's Jazz.
We're Dwayne Jazz. Today we have for you Film Theory. Which of the Incredibles is the most incredible? Disney, Pixar's The Incredibles, because you know 2's about to
I
come
feel
out
like
really
it's
soon.
Jack.
Think so?
Yeah.
We're gonna find out now. This video is
really
by
do.
the Film Theorists, so make sure you check the channel out. And if you guys have any reaction, please follow us on all social media and the links below. And don't forget to
Subscribe.
dive on in.
One special dash, which is another way of saying no one is.
Fine, have it your way, Dash. Let's pit you against your family in a battle to the death
Yeah.
to see which
Jack.
special is the most special of all the specials. It's time.
Jack could turn into a demon. Okay. Oh, are they collabing?
Right, it looks like they
with
are.
Screw Attack?
Right.
Oh yeah, Dash can't. I said Dash. I was thinking of Jack.
Welcome
Dash
to
can't run
Film
on water.
Theory, the only
Yeah.
show that can monologue longer than a villain in a superhero movie. You sly dog! You got me monologuing. I can't. Today I'm covering what's perhaps the most beloved movie in Pixar's lineup.
Yes.
Incredibles.
Love
A film
it.
that probably earned that title because a lot of you watching saw it when you were kids. A fact that, in retrospect, is a bit alarming considering what the movie's really about. I mean, for a
Yes.
family-friendly film, you have a villain that actually kills people, a wife that suspects that her husband is cheating,
Cheating.
and repeated deaths by
Kate.
Turbine. I've always thought that
No
it had
Kate.
a weird message too, where Buddy, the young fanboy who's shunned by his hero, pulls himself up by his bootstraps to become a billionaire weapons designer, using his genius intellect to create devices that give him the power of a superhero himself, which honestly is a story arc that should be praised. I will say, as the one who felt ostracized throughout school, I totally relate to this guy's story. He should be a good role model. He
But
didn't
he's
give
not.
up. He used his innate abilities to get better, to get to the position where he wanted to be. But instead, in this movie, he has an inferiority complex and becomes a sociopathic killer.
You mean you killed off real heroes so that you could pretend to be one?
Oh, I'm real, and I did it without your precious gifts, your oh-so-special powers.
Hey, Pixar, I totally feel what you're
You
going for
watch
here,
it.
but
I didn't watch it.
Good.
intelligence should be a real superpower. But nope, not the Incredibles. And then the rest of the film treats him like a joke until he dies a gruesome death and the heroes are all
By
sacrificed
Kate.
as the ones who are born with their innate abilities. Clearly, this movie believes that some people are just more super than others. And since you killed off the character I most relate to the movie, I'm going full supervillain and giving you a dose of your own medicine. Which super is the most super in the Parr family? Who is the most powerful Incredible?
The
Is it
baby.
sweet Demon Dash, the quiet psychic Violet, the
I did want her
flexible
powers,
Elastigirl, or the brute force of Mr. Incredible? There's also the baby Jack, the big wild card
Jack,
of the family whose
yes.
powers seem to vary from setting himself on fire to changing to different materials.
Thank you.
could say he's a regular Jack of all trades. But knowing how Hollywood storytelling works and based on the fact that the trailers are already playing all this up, it probably means he's going to be revealed to be the most powerful character
Yeah.
in Incredibles 2. So I'm knocking
do a lot.
him out of the competition.
Oh, okay,
In the
so we can't
meantime,
say
though,
him.
place your bets,
All
ladies
right.
and gentlemen, because
So-
4 Incredibles enter, 1 Incredible leaves.
I don't know, because Violet could just turn. Well, she could turn invisible
Syndrome.
and do
Everyone
force
can be
fields and
super.
fly.
Right, I think Violet might get it. I think so.
No one will be.
First things first, if you want to talk about raw strength, then you have to talk about Mr.
Mr. Incredible.
Even if Bob Parr has put on a few pounds since retiring from his superhero days, he is still a hunk of muscle, tossing around cars the same way most of us would toss around a frisbee. Well, I guess if you were really throwing the car like I throw a frisbee, it would mean you would throw the car, it would immediately karate chop down into the
And
ground,
burst
and
into
then roll
flames.
around on its edge in a direction completely opposite the thing I was trying to throw it at, just rubbing the shame in my face as it rolls. But where we really see him start to push his powers to their limits is when he halts a train traveling at full speed right in its tracks. To figure out how much force he needs to
Then he
stop
tried to
that
sue him.
train, we need to know 2 things.
For saving
the
him.
train's deceleration, how quickly he was able to bring that train
Yep.
to a halt.
Wow, I need to watch the
Train's
movie now.
mass.
Yeah, you
The
do.
Sounds
train's
lit.
mass is a bit difficult because for the brief moments that the train is actually seen on screen, we never see how many train cars there are. However, with a bit of historical research, we can actually come up with a pretty good guess on
From the
how
time.
many train cars there
Yeah.
were, how much they weighed, and how fast the the train would have to have been moving. In order to determine the mass of each railway car, we can compare it to a similar railway car in the real world. In the movie, we see Bob reading a copy of the Metroville Tribune, which, when you zoom in real close, shows that the second half of this movie is set in the year 1962. The train stopping scene happens in the movie's opening.
That's in the beginning.
15 years later, flash forward, meaning that scene with the train happens in 1947. Details also point to the city of Metroville being based on Chicago. The font and name of the newspaper make it look like a tribute to the famous Chicago Tribune. And Chicago is a metropolitan city that had a booming economy during the time period of the movie. More importantly, Chicago is also famous for its L train, short for elevated train, that served as a citywide rapid transit system since 1892. Based on the year the movie takes place and the appearance of the cars, they appear to be the Metroville equivalent of the Chicago L train's steel 5000 series cars, which were in service from 1947 to
That's what I'm saying.
Lord. We also know, based on historical research, that the 5000 series of car had an unloaded weight of 93,000 pounds, plus another 14,688 pounds from the weight of all the passengers inside. And yes, I calculated that using the average weight of a person in 1950, which I might note is over 20 pounds lighter than the average weight for a person in the year 2000. Okay?
Well, yeah, because
for
we
everything when it
eating.
comes to historical accuracy, and also our ever-expanding
We got McDonald's and
we
all this fast food. I mean, they had it back then too, but it's
railway
even more.
cars are based on everything we know about elevated trains in the 1940s, which is a surprisingly large amount after doing this episode. The train probably wouldn't be any longer than that. In fact, it was uncommon for trains to be longer than 6 cars during commuter hours way back then. All of that gives us a grand total of 1,184,568 pounds for the mass of the train. That is 592
But then the weight of it,
Mr. Incredible certainly
how
has a lot of
fast
work
it's
to do,
going.
and work he does. He brings that train from 55 miles per hour to a screeching halt in just under 10 seconds. 9.9 seconds if we want to be exact. To do that to a 592-ton train, he'd need to exert a force of 1,333,000 newtons. That's the equivalent of 299,670 pounds of force. Just for comparison, a study of 70 boxers found that elite-level fighters punch with an average of 776 pounds of force, with the strongest one ever not being able to reach 1,300 pounds of force. Bob's punch, by comparison, would be 230 times stronger than that. They don't call him Mr. Incredible for nothing, and with that, 1,333,000 newtons of force is our number to beat. Next up is Helen Parr, aka Mom,
That's strength.
aka
We're gonna find out.
Because she doesn't have super
strength is a bit trickier here, since she's not really about raw strength, but rather raw stretch. We never really get to see her stretched to her limits, but we do get to see how flexible her abilities are. Ba-doom-ching. Alright, I'm done.
Yeah, stop.
She has a parachute mode, boat mode, hovercraft mode, limbo mode, shield offspring from oncoming homing
Yes, that was the
explosion
awesome
mode.
moment.
Completely shielding the kids from an explosion
Indestructible.
of a homing missile.
Indestructible
Yikes.
suit.
If her body is able to go full Groot and repel the force of an explosion like that, protecting what's inside, it must be pretty strong. And based on her passing out in the aftermath of the explosion, it's pushing her powers to their limits, so that is the scene we're gonna analyze. But just how strong is she? Let's look at the missiles. We
But he
don't
got a
actually see any
baseball
other
suit 'cause she had
aircraft
to
in the
make a new
vicinity, so
suit
it looks
for
like
her.
these are gonna be surface-to-air missiles, SAMs, as opposed to air-to-air missiles. But how powerful are they? Well, when it comes to surface-to-air missiles, the explosive yield will ultimately depend on the warhead it's carrying, but faster usually means more powerful. I mean, the fastest missiles in the world are ICBMs, which can reach speeds of over Mach 15. 15 times the speed of sound! And they're usually designed to carry nuclear warheads. It's a scary thought. Anyway, from the way that the missiles appear to only barely outspeed the plane, we can assume that they're probably moving at close to the same rate. Now, a typical commercial jet would be able to hit speeds of around 600 miles per hour, which is subsonic. Less than the speed of sound, not even Mach 1. And we never actually see Helen's plane cross any sound barriers, even as she's trying to avoid these missiles. So that means that the missiles must be moving pretty slowly. Currently, the slowest and typically weakest surface-to-air missiles used by the US military still hit a speed of around Mach 2.5, which means, I guess,
So it would have to be
budget was more
slower
focused
than
on
that.
building killer robots and not so much on buying anti-aircraft missiles. Information on this subject is a bit hard to find, and digging looking around for it has undoubtedly put me back on top of several government watch lists. There goes
They looking at what he's looking at. Like, why is he Googling warheads
by the
and
U.S.
stuff?
military, the slowest one is the RIM 116 Rolling Airframe Missile. RAM. A missile delivering a warhead with an explosive yield equivalent of 47.279 megajoules, or just around 24.9
Enough to
pounds
kill
of
you.
TNT. But here's where things get even more complicated. In the scene, we see not one, not two, but three missiles. Also, Elastigirl isn't even the first thing the explosion hits, impacting the plane
Has
before
to-
even hitting
yeah.
her. Also, we have to consider the fact that Elastigirl isn't at the epicenter of the explosion when the missiles go off. This all matters because what we think of as an explosion is basically just a shock wave that gets weaker and weaker as you move away from the epicenter. And
Sure.
this drop-off
That's
happens
very true.
exponentially. So this time, we're just gonna have to do some rough estimations. If we estimate that the plane's main body, or fuselage, is 10 centimeters thick aluminum...
There's a lot of
standard
names.
for
Fuselage,
aircraft,
megajoules?
and what we know about the impact
That's why that
strength
can't
of
be my line of
aluminum,
work.
and
I would
the
give up.
distance from the initial explosion at around 3 meters based
I'm
on the
like, it's
size
what
and
now?
shape of the cabin and where we see the missile impact the aircraft, Elastigirl's body is absorbing a whopping 3,510,000 pounds of force. That is more
So
than
that's
10
more than him.
times
Wow.
as much force as we calculated for Mr.
Wow, I
Incredible
think- I
to
thought she was
stop
about to
that
lose.
moving train.
I know, I thought
Ladies
she
and
was about to
gentlemen,
lose,
we
too.
have ourselves
So,
a new front runner
she's in
and a
first
new definition
place.
of girl power and a new definition of Wonder Woman. Okay, I'll stop. Up next is Flash. I mean,
Dash.
Speedster of the family. Who knows though? Maybe
I love
Incredibles 2 will
speedsters.
feature reverse dash.
Oh, you'll love
Reverse
him.
dash?
He's
That'd be
probably
lit.
too.
Rip
Yeah.
off the Flash and
So.
recreate that time that the Flash was shot with a fat ray, kidnapped and then put on a
What?
1,000-pound wonder. Like
The
some sort of-
fat
What the fat ray? What were they thinking? What?
Yikes, the 60s
We're gonna make him
were
fat, slow him down.
Anyway,
I'm gonna show you the-
demonstrates his super speed a lot throughout the movie.
Yes,
but
runs
believe it or
on
not,
water.
The greatest feat of speed that we actually see him pull off is when he rushes up to his teacher's desk
Boom, boom.
to place a
Yep.
thumbtack on the seat, then rushes back to his seat.
This little rat is guilty! He's guilty!
He got away with it because they couldn't catch him on the camera.
Guilty! I say guilty!
Hey dude, calm down. Why are you freaking out? It's just a prank, bro. Don't be
Oh,
a prick
no.
about it. Get it? Prick. 'Cause
That
it's a
was cool. He
thumbtack.
just sat there. He said,
Anyway, the teacher,
boom.
determined to catch Dash in the act, has a surveillance camera record the incident. And for a single frame of the video, we see Dash moving. If we
Moving.
assume that the video is recording at 24 frames per second, as most video cameras did back in 1962, that would mean Dash was covering a distance of about 4 meters in just 1/24th of a second. That translates to a speed of 96 meters per second, or 214 miles per hour. But does that give Dash the ability to topple his mother's strength? Earlier, we saw Mr. Incredible stop a speeding L train, but could he stop Dash running towards him at top speed? But what's most
Right.
impressive about Dash isn't his speed so much as it is his acceleration. The fastest sports cars on Earth take around 2 seconds to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour. Dash is able to go from 0
To
to
214
214 miles per hour,
in less than a
stop,
second.
and then reverse his direction to
Right.
get back to his seat again in just a tiny fraction of a second, literally less than the blink of an eye. I
Wow.
ran the numbers, and he's accelerating at a rate of 9,216 meters per second square. To figure out whether Dash can actually topple his father, we use one of my favorite equations of all time on the show, FMA, or force equals
FMA?
mass.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's physics.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah, I
found
hated
his
physics
acceleration.
class.
Now multiply that by the
So
average
many
mass for a
formulas.
10-year-old boy, which is about 72 pounds or 32.5 kilograms, and we find out that Dash's speedy little legs are generating 299,500 newtons of thrust, the equivalent of 67,300 pounds of force,
Oh,
which is
so-
more
So no.
thrust than the engine of a Boeing 747 commercial jetliner. With force and speed like that, perhaps his most amazing super ability is the fact that he's able to get away with that tack prank. He should be causing a massive wind that sends papers at the very least
Right, but he
throughout the
doesn't.
classroom.
Right.
Anyway, at just under 300,000 newtons, he's
Not at
still
all.
a million newtons away from
Not
the
at
raw
all.
strength of his father. To match
But
the force of his dad, Dash
he's
was
still a
able to
kid.
put on a few
Yeah.
pounds, a few hundred pounds.
That too.
In fact,
Try
starting
to take
with
that to a
1.3
factor.
million Newton threshold we calculated for dear old dad and dividing by Dash's acceleration, he'd need to weigh in at 141 kilograms or 310 pounds to tackle his father. And way
I mean, he
more
just
than
has
that
to
punch
grow
through his
up.
mother's elasticity.
Yeah.
837 pounds.
You're not
or
getting
a
there. You're gonna
whopping
be dead.
380 kilograms. Where is a good politically incorrect flash fat ray when you need it? And then There's
Violet.
one. 14-year-old Violet, the bashful, shy girl who wants nothing more
Oh,
than
I
to reject
connected
her
with her
superpowers
character
and be
so
normal
much.
herself. Now, she's a tricky one since her powers aren't physical like anyone else in her family. First, the girl who wants to hide from the world can, appropriately enough, turn invisible. But more to our purposes, she can create force fields capable of blocking pretty much anything. And you
She
can't
blocks
have a force
explosions
field
and
without
everything.
the word force.
And a big
the exact
robot
measurement
coming down.
we've been using to
Right.
prepare the family. We find out about 90 minutes into the movie that Violet's force fields can easily deflect bullets. Using the performance of a standard issue M16 rifle as reference with a 960
How
meter
they
per
get
second
the-
muzzle velocity, 4.02 grams mass
show you
per
Pixar's
bullet, and an
detail.
estimated stop
Right.
distance of
They
0.01
use real
meters. The
type
package
guns
bubble
in the-
shield is
that's
acting with
incredible.
83,288
incredible.
pounds of force, 370,000 newtons. That alone puts her ahead of her brother when it comes to raw strength, but
Of
it's
course
not
it does.
even close to the full extent of her force field's power.
You have more power than you realize. Don't think. And don't worry. If the time comes,
She was doubting her
you'll know what to
powers.
do. It's in your blood.
In the final battle against Syndrome's
Yeah,
Omnidroid
that thing.
version
That's
10,
what I was
she
talking
pulls
about.
out her strongest force field to protect Dash from the giant robot. The Omnidroid 10 is a metal sphere with a hull thickness of about half a meter and a diameter of about 39.6 meters. And we know this by comparing it to the size of the buildings we see it next to, where it appears to be about 12 stories high. Accounting
Yep.
for the fact that the Omnidroid appears to be mostly hollow inside, the metal part alone would have a volume of 2,402 cubic meters. That amount of steel would have a mass of 1.85 times 10 to the 7
so much
kilograms
mass.
or
It is. He's
4,780,000
amazing, 'cause that math is
Hey,
incredible.
I can't do
You know,
it.
well, that says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction tells
Yep.
us that if Violet is supporting an object that weighs 40 million pounds, then her force field has to exert an upward
The same.
force of 40 million pounds. 181,398,476,000 newtons. That is nearly 180 times the force that her father used to stop that train, and over 10 times what her mom withstood in the plane
So
explosions.
she's
And
more.
That's right.
Yeah, see, yeah.
the robot is slamming its body
Because they took
into
out
the
Jack
force
Jack, so I was like,
field,
it might be
which means
Violet.
that we have unequivocally found our strongest Incredible. It is dear old Dad. Yeah. The force
What?
field would make Violet the strongest Incredible by an enormous margin if it weren't for the fact that several seconds later, when Violet passes out from the effort of holding up that object, we see her father step in to save the day by lifting up the exact
true,
same
too. I
object.
forgot about that.
Unlike Violet, he's able to sustain that weight without passing out from the efforts. But
That's
that's
true.
impossible, I hear you saying. I said it too when I was researching this
Okay, I
episode.
didn't even think
Violet
about that
has to
part.
be the strongest. From our calculations, Mr.
Damn.
Incredible holding up that robot takes more than 100 times the amount of force that we saw him use to stop the train at the start of the
'Cause
movie.
that was just for the
It's not
train.
like he
We
wasn't
didn't
trying when it
calculate
came
the
to
robot.
stopping
Okay.
that train. He knew that there were a lot of lives at stake, and he barely managed to stop it before it fell off the rails. So how is it that we see him so much stronger at the end of the movie?
Yeah, protect his
Especially
family,
when we
that's
know
what
that this
them
is after 15
paternal
years of him being
instincts
out
come
of the
in.
surface as a super. Well, maybe this heroic feat of strength is chalked up to the greatest superpower of them all, family.
What I say? What I say?
Ugh, gag me. Cut it out with your family kumbaya nonsense, you hippies. But seriously, seeing his children's lives at stake, Bob
Yeah.
leaps to their defense and provides the most monumental demonstration of strength that we see throughout the entire movie. This is actually known as hysterical strength.
That's a real
Display of
thing.
extreme strength by humans beyond what's believed to be normal, usually occurring when people are in life and death situations. This is most commonly associated with stories of
I know
parents
that from
lifting
AP
vehicles to
psychology.
save their kids. In this case, it's Bob Parr lifting a giant death droid to save his kids. Scientific evidence to prove it is scarce, since, as you can imagine, it's a bit hard to test this sort of thing in a lab. Hey, you're
Right.
gonna put
Yeah.
your kid under a car. Go lift
And
it.
go get
It
'em.
is theoretically possible, believed to be tied to the body increasing adrenaline production in times of crisis.
And you don't
so
feel it.
Violet is definitely number one.
That's
unless
like
parental
like if you get
instincts come into
stabbed
play.
and you don't
you
feel
know
it.
what?
Right.
That
Until,
seems
like,
a
a
fitting
long
climax
time
for a
later,
movie
you
that's
realize you have a
ultimately
knife
more
in
about
you.
family
Right.
bonds than
Like
it is about
that.
superpowers. Sometimes it takes the family to save the day. And even though Dash and Violet might not not be as strong as their dad, in a way, they were indirectly responsible for his greatest
Wow.
strength. And that's
But see, they get
Pixar's
older,
The
though.
Incredibles.
They're gonna get older,
that's
right? In the
the
next
thing,
movie,
they
they're
get
not older though, right?
No.
You have to be
Okay.
born
It takes
special
off
in order to
right where they
be
left off
special.
after this.
Sorry,
What?
syndrome.
And the
I told you he turns into a
This
demon.
work ethic don't merit you becoming a
I told you that.
Luckily,
Wow.
real life doesn't have to work that way. Work hard enough and
I need to watch the movie.
You do need to watch the movie.
He just turned to a demon. I'm like, what in the world?
Skill share.
Jack turns into a lot of stuff. That's why he took out Jack because
Yeah, 'cause
like
it's
Jack
like-
Jack could turn his whole self into fire. He's just a baby, so
Right.
he could turn into a fire baby, steel,
Laser beam.
do lasers. That's new because we didn't see that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Electric. Wait, did we see lasers? I feel like we did see lasers.
I think lasers was.
I think lasers was already
I ain't
there.
see it.
No, the electric part was not there. The electric part was not there. I don't think so.
And he turned into a demon. What was
Turned to a
that?
demon. He vibrated like so when Syndrome had him. That's the evil guy. When Syndrome had him, it was like he started vibrating. Like he turned to all those things. He turned to the fire. He turned to the steel, and that's when you saw his powers. But then when he started vibrating, he was like, "What's happening?" And then that's when he turned into the demon. And then he started like ripping at him, and then he was just screaming. And then that's what made him drop the baby. And then the baby turned to normal. Then that's when the mom. Well, that's when Mr. Incredible threw the mom up there so she could catch him, and she turns
Right.
her parachute to hold him and stuff
Right.
like that. But yeah, it's awesome.
That sounds lit.
movie.
I gotta watch. You gotta
need to
record
see
it for me. You record
Dwayne.
Wreck-It Ralph before you record Incredibles, which I already seen, Jasmine.
Dwayne, I have
Hold on.
recorded the movie. I have the movie on DVD. You choose not to watch it.
We're gonna watch it, Jasmine.
Okay.
We're gonna watch it, Jasmine.
You choose not to watch it at all. Yeah, you better stop.
All right, anyway,
stop
guys.
Press and play.
Anyway, guys, please comment below. Tell us.
Don't forget to like,
Subscribe.
share.
This is work. This is.